Just a couple of follow-ups. I want to hear a few comments on regarding the movement of agents outside of Washington, D.C. First of all, the task force that the FBI are involved in with state and local law enforcement are hugely important. And I assume those task forces can be enhanced and more frequent if we have more agents closer to where the local law enforcement is investigating and pursuing criminals. So we should see an increase in FBI participation in partnership with local law enforcement as a result of this change in policy. Is that true?
That's a huge piece of it, Senator.
Anything you want to more fully tell me?
Sure. So I didn't have an opportunity to discuss it, but the way we set about this reprogramming or push to the field is not just by throwing darts on a map. We had the careers at the FBI identify the violent crime hotbeds across America based on violent crime statistics, and then we apportioned the approximately 1,500 or so FBI employees against those statistics to cover down immediately based on an apportionment cycle where the need is most and highest. And within the folks going out into the field, as you identified, it will be up to the field level SACs to determine which task force they go into, which agencies and they embed with, and who they invite to embed with them. So that's a big part of the process is state and local commitment to state and local authorities that we're not just sending a federal agent to do work alone, we're sending them to do it with you.
That makes sense to me, and I thank you for that change in policy. Let me highlight for you the nature of the state of Kansas and its rural characteristics. And I would highlight that I hope that you would agree that all that reallocation will not necessarily occur to the primary field office in the state, but take into account other resident agents. We have 4 in our state of Kansas: Garden City, Manhattan, Wichita, and Topeka. Those offices are worthy of that kind of support as well. And so while you're decentralizing Washington, I don't want to shortchange the field office, but I also want to make sure the field office doesn't then shortchange the other aspects of law enforcement in our state.
You hit on one of the most important things I told my team when we're doing this. We're not sending more agents to LA just because it's LA. We have to cover down on geography, and every one of your offices and RAs that you mentioned is getting a plus up because that's the only way to cover down on geography. So we're pushing them out not just to the SAC field offices, but we're pushing them out to the RA specifically to cover down on what you just highlighted.
That's very pleasing to know and to hear. Garden City, for example, is 400 miles from Kansas City. Yeah. And Garden City has its unique circumstances, its location on interstate, and it's the nature of the community and the workforce and the volume of drugs across our state, not just in the cities, and the violent crime in communities across our state. So thank you. And it's also perhaps hard to recruit to those small towns. And so what you're doing, as I understand, is not forcibly moving someone to, you're creating the vacancy in a different place and then trying to fill that vacancy. And I just highlight there's sometimes challenges to find agents, I assume, who will want to work in smaller communities distant from the cities.
What we're finding out is that when agents now know that the opportunity to make promotions is going to be based on largely on casework in the field, when we put this out on a volunteer basis initially and understanding that people have families and we want to uproot people, striking that balance, we found a lot of folks willing to jump in and say, send me wherever. I just want to do the work.
That's great to hear.